What's up, guys? It's Laser Monkey. Welcome back, and today I'm breaking down Feliks's recent 5.69 world record average. Great average from Feliks. Scrambles were not too difficult, which is nice, and there were a lot of ZBLLs, a lot of last layer tricks, some OLL skip forcing. So this is a really nice average, and let's get into it with the first solve. For the first solve, Feliks does red cross, and the cross pieces are here, 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 and here. And what he also noticed was that there's a little block here with the red and blue cross piece, this corner, and the edge that goes with that block is over here. So what he does is he first brings this white one that belongs here in relation to this green-red. So he brings that over, and then he solves this little block here. So then you got 3 out of the 4 cross pieces. And in order to solve this last edge, he could just do a B2, and that would set up the cross. But he's got this edge, and he wants to build the X cross. So what he does is he moves these together so that they are going to move down at the same time, adjust the bottom layer accordingly, and then moves these both down, which is really nice because now he has the X cross. Next, he saw these two, the green and white, which solves right back into this slot. So he just does that. And here, I think he missed something. He did these two. And I think what he missed is he was obviously going very fast, which is why these times are so fast, but this was actually the worst solve. I think an improvement he could have done is this, and the only problem with this solution is that it does give a dot OLL, so maybe he didn't want to do that, but I would argue that the time saved by doing this outweighs the time saved by doing a non-dot OLL, because he actually ends up doing a lot of things to not get a dot OLL. So here he's kind of like, he's hesitating. He first goes to insert it there, but then he decides he wants to insert it like this and gets this OLL case, which I assume he knows COLL for or something like that, which is why he hesitates even more on this step and messes around, and then he finally gets to doing this algorithm, which does indeed give him a U-perm. So that's the first solve. It was a bit shaky, 6.9, but that is the worst of this average, and it's all up from here. For this next solve, Feliks does blue cross. You can see the first 2 cross pieces already basically solved here, just a D away. This one belongs here, and this last one belongs over here. So he inserts these in the simplest possible way, really. And he does a U prime here to set himself up for his first F2L pair, which he actually does these two. So he breaks these up and then inserts them into the back. You'll see this by a lot of high-level speed cubers. They're always inserting their first couple pairs into the back so they can see as much as possible, and that makes it much easier to actually look ahead, which is key. And next he solves these two very easily into the back. And this whole time he's looking ahead, right? This one belongs over here. And he gets a kind of a tricky situation here, but he's had plenty of time to think about it. So what he decides on is a solution of these 2 F2L pairs. You see this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. There's a nifty little thing here that you might recognize. It's an obscure pattern, but you get it often enough. What you do is take these 2, pair them up, and then you've got these 2. This is another pattern. And if you do a sledgehammer to insert this one, these 2 will pair up, and then you can just insert it like that. And here he does a nice ZBLL, which is actually really easy to learn because it's just the normal alg for this case, right? But then it cancels into T-perm. And yeah, that was the second solve, 5.64, very fast TPS on this one. On to the next one. For this next solve, Feliks chose green cross because it's really easy. You got this one, this one, this one, and this one, and they're all one move away from being solved relative to each other. So he does that, and then sets up this pair really nicely. So this is a pretty easy scramble. This pair goes in the back here, and then he saw this edge and this corner back here, so he rotates, he does these two, and then he decides to do some rotations to solve this one into the back so that he can try and figure out how to do this one while he's doing that. This isn't exactly optimal, but he's turning so fast that it's hard to critique these decisions. Here, he solves this F2L pair in a way. You could do this, but that gives, for his knowledge, he knows a lot of ZBLLs. So he's going to want to set up a ZBLL here. So what he does is this. And now he's got a nice ZBLL, which is pretty nice. I'll do it now. And that's the third solve, 5.57. For the fourth solve, Feliks does red cross, and it's actually a pretty similar setup to one of the previous solves. You got these two relative to each other, ready to just move over with a D. And the difference here is that there's a block, an F2L block here, and there's an F2L block here that can be made. And so what he wants to do with this cross solution is preserve both of these F2L blocks in order to speed up his early stages of F2L and maximize look ahead. So what he does here is he starts off like this, and then he actually does an interesting decision. I think what he saw is that he could set this F2L pair up to be solved and actually have this one right after, as you'll see in a bit. So he actually started like this and inserted this one later. And now you can see that these two are really nicely set up for a 1-2 punch right there. A really nice F2L solution, because this one, the way you would solve this includes the moves that you would use to solve this one. So you're basically saving yourself a ton of time, and it's super fluid and super easy to execute. Next, he does this F2L pair, just like this. And here, I'm sure he recognized this is a case for an OLL skip. So you just got to recognize these things when you got this block and this kind of shape, and there's an edge here. What you can do is actually set this up like that for a nice OLL skip. Definitely take note of that one. And then he does the U-perm, except I did the other U-perm. There we go. And that solve was 5.79. For the last solve, Feliks does orange cross because he saw this pair here, and these three are actually really nicely set up. They can just be solved like that. And then the last one is just a D and then an F prime away. But first he has to preserve that pair. So he preserves the pair there, gets it out of the way of the cross building, and then goes ahead and solves it just like that. And here he solves these two into the back, and then these two, super fast. And here he gets kind of lucky. This is like a pretty ugly looking case, but if you know the case here, there's actually a way to force an OLL skip by doing two sledgehammers. So you solve the pair here, then you do a sledgehammer, and then bring this around and do another sledgehammer. And then he gets blessed with an H-perm, executes that real quick, slams it down, 5.63 seconds. Very nice. And that's a world record average by Feliks Zemdegs once again. So yeah, that's about it for my breakdown of Feliks's brand new 5.69 world record average. I thought this was a pretty solid average. I mean, there was definitely some luck. There's a reason Feliks doesn't get 5.69 on every average, but it was luck created by lots of knowledge and lots of quick decision making that ended up working out. And I think this is a really good model average for how to take advantage of some lucky cases and maximize the potential of those scrambles. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Laser Monkey out.